Hi everybody! So for today's theme, what we're going to do is, although we're in a new month, right? We're saying hello to July. We're also going to begin a new topic. We're going to say goodbye to shapes of the week because we've been working so hard on recognizing our shapes, identifying our shapes, and also, creating shapes to make our pictures, right? We're using the shapes to make a picture of a boat, or we're using shapes to create a person, right? So what we're going to do is talk about our, drum roll please, number of the week. Number of the week. We're going to find out our number of the week. Now, since we're just beginning with our number of the week, let's start with the first number we start counting with, right? So when we begin to count, what's the first number we start with? That's right, number 1. So let's go ahead and take our whiteboard. I'm going to grab my marker. And when we begin to count, the first number we start with is 1. So I'm going to draw my number 1 here. This is a version of 1. Sometimes you might see a 1 look like this, a diagonal down and a vertical across. Guess what? That's a 1 too. 1 as well, I should say, right? Not 1, 2. That's a 1 as well. Now, let's spell 1 together because on our craft today, we're also not only going to write the number 1, we're going to spell the number 1. So when we write the number 1, we write, it sounds like it would begin with a W, but a little fun fact, it's actually the letter O. N. Very good. N, and then E. And that is how you spell 1. So we have it written down, and we also have the number 1 together. So we have 1 and 1. So what we're going to do for our craft today is we're going to write the number 1. We're going to write out 1. We're also going to write the number 1. So that's why I have 2 separate spaces on this paper. And I also have a 1 that we're going to cut out together. Awesome. And then I have 1 flower, since we're going to put 1 flower to match the number 1, right? I don't want to add 2 flowers or 3 flowers or 4 because that doesn't match to the number of our week, right? So let's go ahead and begin. What's the first thing we do when we make our activities? And also, what we'll need for this activity, since I was showing you my paper, we also need, very good, a pair of scissors, some glue, and our marker. All right, so let's begin. I'm going to begin with writing my name, and you can write yours on the back of your paper. And when you're done, go ahead and flip it over. And if you need some more time, go ahead and pause the video. Perfect. So on the very top of our paper, I have what shape is this? Very good. I have a rectangle. And at the top rectangle, I'm going to write 1. But I'm not going to write the number 1. I'm going to spell 1. So just like we did here, let's spell 1. O-N-E. So let's get our marker out. And I'm going to write 1 at the top. So remember, it's O-N-E. Beautiful. Just like that. O-N-E. Now, at the bottom, I'm going to write the number 1, right? We're not spelling out the word 1. We're writing the number 1. So I'm going to draw a vertical line down. And there we are. So go ahead and draw and write 1s all across. If you need to practice often, keep going, right? Write as many 1s as you can. Because the more practice, the better, right? And it helps you to also remember how to make that number 1. And I like to repeat myself too sometimes because that also helps me to practice. So if you can do that, wonderful. So it should look a little something like this. We've got the word 1 at the top and the number 1 all across the bottom. Thumbs up. So now, I drew a stencil of the number 1. I'm going to take my scissors, and we're going to cut out this number 1. Now remember, thumb in the small hole, fingers in the large, and let's go ahead and begin. Take your time. I'm going to cut here towards the top, and I'm going to go open, shut, open, shut. And we're going to right around the edges. And remember, I'm going to turn my paper. You can turn your wrist as well, but it also helps to really rotate your paper too. So I'm going to go ahead and cut open, shut, And here we are. Number 1. Perfect. Remember, throw your scraps in the recycling, please. That way, we take care of our planet, which is very important, right? So I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm going to place glue on my number 1, like so. See how you can see a little chunk there at the top, but I'm going to go ahead and place it in the center of my number 1 paper, right? 1. Perfect. Now, remember, we counted 1 flower. If you don't have a little flower at home, that's totally okay. You can use anything that you can find one of, right? It could be anything from, maybe you want to cut out a shape on a piece of paper. Maybe you found 1 Lego at home that you are able to add onto your paper, right? There's tons of different opportunities and options you can use at home. Use whatever you want to use at home. As long as it's a-okay that you glue it onto your paper, right? Double check with your guardian. So I'm going to go ahead and use this flower that I have here. I'm going to glue a little bit onto this. It's a different fabric than usual, so I'm going to go ahead. It's very soft, so what I did was I added the glue to the flower itself, and I'm going to place it on my number 1. If you want to put it to the side of your 1, or if you want to put it on the one you cut out yourself, that's totally okay too. Up to you. There it is. I've got my 1. I cannot wait to see how yours turn out. Have fun with it, right? What do we always say? Try your best, right? But have a good time, all right? I'm glad you're practicing your numbers, and I'll see you next time.